Hello everyone, my name's Matthew Zoltan and I'm just going to do a little continuation on judgment. So judgment has two purposes. There's the misuse of judgment and the correct use of judgment. If you use judgment for what it's for, it serves its purpose and it gets you through life very well. So what's it for? You need judgment to, for example, make a judgment about how far it is to the end of the road, so you know when to put your brakes on. You can't just leave that up to chance. You need to make a judgment. So you apply a certain amount of braking and you come to a stop at the correct point. Simple judgment. Or you're making judgment calls all day at work. Or you're making judgment calls all day with your kids, all day in life. You make a judgment, in fact, when you actually put the plate on the table. So you're making judgments all day long to determine action. And that's what it's for. Determine the correct mechanical action in your day-to-day life. A judgment is purely for the mechanics. In fact, all thinking is purely for mechanical application in life. But once you turn judgment into a personalized thing, you're now using morals, you're now using religious concepts, biases, what you should be, what you shouldn't be, cultural concepts. And these judgments of ourselves are the misuse of judgment. It's not what judgment's for. You see, you can't really judge yourself and get it right, because any judgment of yourself is based on bias. It's based on an opinion. It's based on something that you've learnt from somewhere or something else to tell you that the way you are is not how you should be. That's really ridiculous, actually. It's just ignorance. And judgment is the cause of ignorance. Self-ignorance is the result of judgment. Why are you judging yourself? Can you really put a judgment on yourself? You can't put a judgment on yourself and say you shouldn't be the way you are. There's no other way you can be. And that will cause you pain. That will cause you misery. That use of judgment does harm. You can't be any different to the way you are. The way you are is the way you are. And in that moment of being the way you are, how do you make that be different? You can't make that be different. You can judge it, you can criticize it, and try and make that be different. And 10 years later, 5 years later, or a lifetime later, you'll still be doing that. You'll still be judging yourself. You'll still be trying to make yourself different to the way you are. That's massive confusion. The problem isn't the way you are. This is the solution. The problem is not the way you are. The problem is not how to change yourself. It's a wrong question. It's not about how can I improve myself. That's another wrong question. The only problem and the only question we have to answer is, how do I live with myself the way I am? How do I live with myself as I am? Because as I am is all I'm ever going to be. I'm never going to be any different to what I am. What I am is what I am. In every moment of my life, being the way I am is not my choice. We like to think we have free will. We like to think we have choice. But we're not thinking very deeply. We're not considering things very broadly if we think we have a choice. We make a choice to eat a particular flavour of cake when we go to the cafe. Was that free will? Was that a free choice? Or was that us being influenced by advertising, being influenced by having eaten that cake before? Whatever we did beforehand is driving us to do what we're doing now. Whatever we've experienced before, whatever's happened before, is driving us to do what we're doing now. Do you really know where you're coming from in totality when you perform an action? Do you know why you want the things you want and why you do the things you do? If you're really honest about it, you haven't got a clue. Because you're much bigger than just the thing you think you are. You're completely interconnected with the whole history of mankind. Your species has been around for a long time. And you are the current result of that species. So there's a lot of history there. Whether you're thinking that history or not thinking that history, what drives us to do the things we do? Am I responsible for what comes out of me when what comes out of me is also a part of what's already been put in me along the way? I didn't ask for that to happen. Neither did you. It just happened. All sorts of stuff has gone in along the way, and it continues to come out now in our life today, in the choices we make. And then we judge ourselves for that because we think we have free will, we think we have control. And we judge one another for that when our life is really just a matter of luck and chance. Yeah. And what does it actually matter on that level anyway? Only on that level, only on the level of what we think about and place importance on. But as the deeper sense of ourselves is concerned, what it is to be me is not defined by what I do or say or think. What it is to be me is defined very clearly by how I feel, by the sense of me, by the lived experience of me in myself. And that doesn't really change a great deal because of what it is I do, think or say. Not the depth of that. I am what I am. What I think about myself superficially changes my experience of what I am. But what I am remains true to itself. Even if I superimpose a secondary experience of that through the way I think about that, on top of that, underneath that, I'm still what I am. So we live in two worlds, we humans. We live in the real world and we live in the artificial world made up of our thinking. The real world, the organic world, the living world, the live world, the world of animal, the world of nature. Yeah? That's one world. And that world exists of its own right, has its own free flow. But the world that we add on top of that, of all of our thinking, our culture, our beliefs, our concepts, it's all make-believe. It's all just thinking. And we change our experience of the real world with our artificial mental world, but we only change our experience of that. We don't change the fact of how that real world is. And to the real me and the real you, which are part of the natural world, which are an expression of the natural world, we don't really care. We don't really care about what thought has to say about me, what other people have to say about me. The body doesn't care. The body's not interested in learning anything about itself because it's already complete. We're born complete. And in that completion, we live complete all through our lives. But everything that's added to us along the way, through thinking, through culture, is just learned. And the body is not interested in all that learning, not in the slightest, only mechanical learning for the purpose of survival. Other than that, the body has nothing to learn about itself. I have nothing to learn about myself. I'm only going to find out anything true about myself from one place anyway, and that is from myself, from being me. And being me is the feeling of me, is the sensation of me, not the thoughts that I make up about me. That has got nothing to do with being me. Absolutely nothing. That will take me away from being me. But being me is a sensory, living, continuous state. That is the life of me. The life of me is being me, and the life of me is the throb of me, the life of the senses, the life of every part of the system of the body of me. That life of me is being me. Being me is very, very deep, very, very complex, but very, very healthy and very, very complete. Being me is just being me, and I've got no choice about that whatsoever. I have no need to make a choice about that because that can never change. Yeah. I will always be me. I've always been me, and I will continue to be me. A complete being. All my thoughts about myself, all religions have to say about it, all spirituality has to say about that, is very, very harmful. That's where all my pain and your pain comes from. All those distortions we add to ourselves in the artificial world of thinking. It's not even a world. It's not even there. Thoughts aren't really there. They're just images. They're just make-believe. That's all very well to say, but understanding that is pretty tricky for most people. How are you going to grasp an understanding of that? When you really understand that, you have no more escape. You've got no reason to make judgments of yourself or criticisms of yourself or anybody else. You don't need to compare yourself to anybody else, because only you are you and only they are they. They are themselves, you are yourself. How your life is unfolding on the outside is just chance, just good luck or bad luck. How you deal with that, now that is showing your intelligence. If you react to that, if you reject that, you're fighting something you can't win. You're fighting life. So comparing your existence with another person's existence is ludicrous. It's not even that important to you, because in and as your own existence, the feeling of you is all that really matters. That's essentially all that's going to matter to you. How do you feel to be you today? And that is not determined by the world around you or the thoughts about you. Not when you get into the real sense of that, beneath the thoughts about that, you'll discover how it feels to be you today is the same as every other day. It's perfectly fine. It's just being you. What you add to that, the criticisms, the judgments, are just cultural input, just opinion, just ideas, ideologies. To try and improve on that is a nonsense, absolute nonsense. How can you improve on what you are if you're already complete? You can't. But if you criticize that, you will superimpose an experience on yourself that hurts you. And you'll feel the hurt of that, and that feels very real, and is real. So thought operates on one level, and the intelligence of the living body operates on an entirely different level. One is reality, and the other is nothing but imagination. Pure imagination. And that misuse of imagination is to imagine something is real when it isn't. And that's religion and spirituality. That's any thoughts about yourself that hurt you, any criticisms of yourself, any judgments of yourself. These are just imaginings. The only reason you criticize or judge yourself or dislike yourself is because you don't know yourself. And you can't know yourself while you're judging yourself. You can't know yourself while you're thinking about yourself. All ideologies, all spiritualities, all religions, all belief systems are made up of thinking. So they won't help you. You don't need help. You need to drop beneath that idea that you need help and help yourself by coming back to the pure and only sense that you have of yourself. When I say pure, I mean untainted by your ideas about yourself. So you need to stop thinking about yourself. How are you going to do that? Is realize that you can't. Whatever you think about yourself is only an opinion. You won't get it right. As soon as you think about yourself, you're stuck in thinking, and whatever that thinking has caused it to feel like to be you, which is not really how it feels to be you. How it really feels to be you is only known when you are quietly in the physical sensation of you as a body. And that's the natural meditation of the body. To simply relax in the sensation of being you. Not trying to fix it, not trying to improve on that, because there's nothing to improve and there's nothing to fix. There's nothing wrong. Only thought tells you something's wrong. Only ideas tell you something's wrong, and then produce a feeling in you that sort of validates that there must be something wrong. That's just the con of religion. That's just the con of spirituality. Don't get dragged into all that bullshit. It's a friggin' lie. Total lie. But you've got to find that out for yourself. How do you find that out for yourself? You've got to spend time just being you, getting to know what it's like to be you from the inside out. That means not from the outside in of thinking about yourself, but from the inside out of just spending time in the feeling of what it is to be you, however that happens to be.